Hi everybody, I'm Pia from Stitches and Scraps. Today I'm going to show you how to knit a provisional tubular cast-on. Let's say that I want to cast on 11 stitches for a 1x1 rib pattern. So I'm going to start with some waste yarn and cast on half of that rounded up. So half of 11 is 5.5 and then rounded up makes it 6. So I'm going to cast on 6 stitches. Any cast on will work, but a crochet cast on is the easiest to rip out later. So let's do a crochet cast on. Start by making a couple of chains just to get yourself away from the floppy edge. And then what we're going to do is we're going to start chaining around our needle. So the yarn goes behind the needle and then you grab it with the crochet hook and pull it through. Bring the yarn back behind the needle, grab it with the crochet hook, pull it through. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 stitches cast on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And now I'm just going to make some extra chains just to give myself a bit of a tail to work with later. And I'm going to cut this yarn. Okay. And that is the provisional part of the cast on. So now let's do the tubular part. So now I'm going to switch to my actual working yarn. And I'm just going to knit one with that. So I just put the loop on the needle and knit with it. That joins it, okay? Now I'm going to alternate yarn overs and knit stitches. Basically, wherever I put a yarn over, that's where the purl is going to be in the ribbing. And wherever I knit, that's where the knit stitch is going to be. So I yarn over and knit one. Okay? Yarn over and knit one. Yarn over, knit one. Yarn over, knit one. Yarn over, and knit the last one. So with a yarn over between each of the stitches, I now have 11 stitches, which is what I wanted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Now let's turn and work row 2. On row 2, we're going to knit all of the yarn overs and slip all of the knit stitches from last time. Now because we've turned our work, the knit stitches look like purl stitches here. You can see the little purl bumps, right? So anything that looks like a purl, we're going to slip, and anything that doesn't look like a purl, we're going to knit. Because we're on the wrong side now, we're going to do all our slipping with the yarn in front. So slip with the yarn in front, and always purlwise, right? Bring the yarn to the back to knit and knit that yarn over. Bring the yarn to the front, slip one with the yarn in front. Bring the yarn to the back to knit and knit the yarn over. Okay, and we're going to keep doing that all the way across. So what happens here is we're only knitting half the stitches. And the half of the stitches that we're knitting are the ones that are going to look like purl bumps on the front. Okay, that's row 2. Let's turn and do row 3. Row 3, we're going to do the same thing, but this time we're on the right side. So when we slip, we're going to slip with the yarn in the back. And you can very easily see now, these are the purl bumps, and these are the ones that don't look like purl bumps. So these are the ones we knit on the last row, and these are the ones we slipped on the last row. So now we're going to be knitting these ones, and we're going to be slipping those ones. So we knit one, not with our tail, there we go. Knit one, and then leave the yarn at the back because we're on the right side now, and just slip this one. Okay, knit one, slip one, knit one, ooh, leave it at the back, slip one, knit one. That's the hardest part of the whole cast on, is remembering whether to leave the yarn at the back or bring it to the front for slipping. knit one. Okay, so let's turn our work. And this looks like a purl bump, right? So we're going to slip it, and we're on the wrong side, so we're going to slip it with the yarn in the front of our needle. Okay. This one doesn't look like a purl bump, so we're going to bring the yarn around to the back and we're going to knit it. Slip, knit. And we're going to keep doing that to the end of the row and slip the last one. Okay, turn our work. And now I'm back to the right side row. And if you get confused over which side is right side and wrong side, your first row was a right side row. So your tail is going to be at the beginning of a right side row. So if your tail's on this side, then that means this is a wrong side row. Okay, the other way to look at it is on the right side row, we knit the first and last stitch. So if you're looking at it and the first and last stitch are knit stitches, then that's the right side row. If you're looking at it the other way, the first and last stitches are purl stitches. So that's how you can tell which side you're on. I'm on a right side row now. I could stop here or I could do this one more time. I'm going to go ahead and do it one more time off camera, and then I'll come back and show you the magic. Okay, I've now done 3 right side rows and 3 wrong side rows, and you can see that in the knit stitch columns there's 1, 2, 3 knit stitches, and in the purl stitch columns there's 1, 2, 3 purl bumps. Okay, now here's the magic. We can just rip this out, and you could keep going as much as you wanted with the double knitting, but once you're done with it, we can just rip this out and our tubular cast on is done. So how do we rip this out? This is why I said that the chain method is the crochet chain method is the easiest, because you're just going to undo this bind off, so this fasten off. You're just going to take this last tail and pull it out, and now you can just unzip the cast on by pulling on that tail. And nothing's going to go anywhere, don't worry. We're just going to unzip this all the way, and when it's done, we're going to pull the waste yarn out through it, and we have a beautiful, perfect tubular cast on. So that's how you do the provisional tubular cast on when you need an odd number of stitches. But what if you need an even number of stitches? Let's take a look at that. There are a few different ways to do this cast on with an even number of stitches. They mostly boil down to starting with an odd number of stitches and then either doing an increase or a decrease on the next row to get to an even number. So I like a decrease method, which means I'm going to start with half the total number of stitches that I want plus 1. So if I want 10, I'm starting with 5, which is half, plus 1, which makes 6. So I'm still starting with 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on my provisional cast on. Now I'm going to join my main yarn and work the first row very much the same way we did before. So I'm going to knit the first stitch, do a yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, one more yarn over, and then on this last one I'm going to knit 1, and then here's the decrease. I'm going to bind it off with this yarn over. Now we're going to continue very much like we did for the previous cast on. So turn our work, and now you can see where these purl bumps are. So this one I'm going to slip, right? These are the ones I'm going to slip. This first one I'm going to knit, even though it looks a little funky because of that bind off, I'm going to knit that one. So knit that one, bring the yarn to the front, slip 1, bring the yarn back, knit 1, continue that all the way to the end of the row. Knit this one, and then I'm going to be ending on a slip 1. Okay, turn my work, and we're back to a right side row. Now one thing to note, because this is an even number, is when it was an odd number, I told you on the right side we start with a knit and we end with a knit. But because we've got an even number now, we're starting with a knit and ending with a purl. So don't let that throw you. Use the tail to tell you which side is the right side because both sides start with a knit and end with a purl because it's the even number. So either put a marker or use the tail to tell you that, hey, this is the right side. So let's do one right side row together. Knit. Now we're slipping with the yarn in back because we're on the right side. Slip, knit, slip, knit, slip, all the way across, and end with a slip. I'm going to do another wrong side row and then one more right side and one more wrong side row, and then we'll remove the waste yarn together. As you can see, I've finished 3 rows on the right side and 1, 2, 3 rows on the wrong side. Let's remove our provisional cast-on. Again, we're going to find this bump in the back, pull that out, and just unzip. And there you have a tubular provisional cast-on with an even number of stitches. Now, what if you wanted to do this in the round? Well, the easiest way is to knit the cast-on flat and then start, join in the round when you start the next round. So that'll leave a little gap at the edge here where this edge and this edge aren't connected. And you've got a tail right here. You can just sew that tiny edge here, which in this case is just 2 stitches together at the edge, and you'll be good to go. That's exactly what I did for the Cassiope hat, and I'll drop a link to that in the description on this video if you're watching it on YouTube, or in the blog post if you're watching it directly on my blog. But you can see I did 3 rows on each side for the cast on here, and I did that in rows. And then after I joined in the round to work the rest of the hat, when I was all done, I went ahead and sewed the opening across the 3 rows together. And that's how you knit the provisional tubular cast-on. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it with your friends, or leave me a comment. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel for more great videos. Thanks for watching.